Hey everybody, Horror Flick Chicks podcast. Angie, Sonia, Sandra, how are you ladies?
Hi.
Hi.
Very good.
So here we are, Only Murders in the Building, season 3, episode 4, The White Room. So I don't know about y'all, but this episode was particularly hilarious for me.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed this. The comedy just like it just keeps going.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and the mystery is still there. So now we have, um they're still trying to figure out who done it. They're still trying to figure out if Kimber is the person who done it.
Right. They're following up on the lead
Yeah,
because she said she didn't have the hanky, so that was what they were
she said
going
she
with.
right. So she said she didn't have the hanky, and they're still trying to figure out, what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, just a bunch of moving parts. They're all kind of like working separately, and then like,
Yeah.
still trying to, you know, figure this out. So we see Selena Gomez's character, Mabel Mora. She's like kind of getting lots of like very weird phone calls with a no-name number.
Yeah, just a number.
Um,
And she
and
seems to know who it is, but she's not picking it up.
she seems
Right.
to know who it is. So I was starting, I don't know if you guys were getting this feeling, but like the second time she got a text, like later on in the episode, I was beginning to wonder if she did it, because
Oh, I
it
No.
didn't.
seemed like
No.
it seemed like she was a little nervous, and it was weird.
Yeah,
Um,
I
It
did,
did seem like she was nervous.
I
Yeah.
did sense
yeah,
that too, but I didn't think for any kind of moment that it's because
I
she's
did
hiding
for a split
something that
second. I
she
did.
did that she has something to do with the murder. I didn't think
Yeah.
so at all.
Yeah, for just a minute I did. But anyway, later on, we just kind of skipping ahead, where we see, the actors also continuing to do their rehearsals for Razzle Dazzle. What is it?
Death
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 rattle
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 dazzle.
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 And the play just the musical just seems to be getting weirder and weirder,
Yeah.
I know.
which is like absolutely amazing.
But
um
I kind of want to see it though.
I do want to see it. I
Yeah.
hope they
Right?
show this. I hope
It is
they show
getting
it to
weird,
us.
but I kind of want to see it. So
I hope they show this to us at some point, like
Yeah.
the
it would be
full.
kind of cool if they did an offshoot of this season and made its own separate like bonus episode and it's just the play.
That would be so
I
cool.
think it would be so funny if they did that.
Um, so if the writers who are still on strike are listening to us, please, we want you back. We hope
Make
you
death
get what
rattle
you
happen.
need and make
Death
it
rattle
happen.
dazzle.
Death rattle
So
dazzle.
we see them like still doing the rehearsal. Martin Short and Steve Martin are just so hilarious.
I know.
Their quips are just so great. At some point, Steve Martin's character Charlie has to do like a very quick bit, like it's almost like what, as he says, a rap, and it's like given to like the worst
Well,
singer
because he can't sing,
because he can't
so they
sing.
give him a song that's like kind
Right.
of more speaking, like kind of rap
But
in it.
it turns
Right.
out to be so hilarious. So the
Yeah,
first time he tries it, it was just so funny. Like, Mabel Mora is at the back of the room, and she's like, somehow I feel like I should be here for this.
I gotta
And
watch this.
he keeps like trying to do the bit over and over again, and he's like, this seems faster than it was before. Anyway, he ends up doing his bit and goes into this trance, because it seems that Mr. Charlie is a little bit stressed out from having his girlfriend move in with him. The girlfriend being the makeup artist who we saw, him hitting on. It's moving very fast.
yeah,
So she
Joy.
moved in with him. She brought all her shit. It's all in his living room.
And I think also the fact that he was happy when the play wasn't going to happen because he didn't want to do it. And
Right.
now it's back on,
Right.
and it's a musical, which obviously we know he
Yeah.
doesn't sing. So I think that too is part of the that gets him a little crazy and sends him to the white room.
And
Yes.
he starts to try to do the bit. And then you can tell he's like babbling because he's saying words that don't make sense.
Right.
And then he, right,
And
like
he
you
like
said, he
blacks
goes,
out.
right,
Like
he blanks out and goes into his white room. That's the title of the episode. And it's funny, I didn't even think about that, but they basically explained it that if you're, basically if you're on stage on a Broadway show or something and you're acting and you forget your lines or lose, you kind of go into this state
This
in your
trance.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And weird shit happens and you don't even realize that it's happening.
Let
So,
me just tell you that I mean it's been a while since I've actually done a lot of more performances than I in for years. I play piano. So many years ago when I was like younger, I used to play a lot in on stage. And to be honest with you, there was a couple of times that I totally forgot the music because most of the time you're supposed to learn the music, memorize the music, and play the music from memory. And sometimes, if you're so nervous, you will forget everything. So that has happened to me a couple of times. And I'm telling you that when you get off stage, you're literally like, what just happened? Like you don't remember anything. It's literally like it everything blocks out.
you
And
went to the white room too?
yes, I've been to the white room several times.
but it's kind of funny
So
when he comes out of the white room, he's all disheveled and
yeah,
he was
and with
like
his pants
sitting in a
off
in a in a
and like
shopping cart with
in
Yeah,
the
hair
he was
shopping
messed up
with
and
his pants off.
he was
yeah,
sitting in the bassinet with his pants off.
like what was going on in those few minutes
Yeah.
that we didn't see and that Oliver and everyone else
And
saw
then the
and they
whole
were
audience, yes, the cast is watching this
yeah.
happen and they're just like in shock. And they're like, can we like you know, call it a day? And Oliver's just like, yeah, let's call 5 years instead of minutes.
Oh,
Anyway,
and
so on the back end we see Mabel getting these text messages. Eventually we see who she gets them from. Before that we see Tina Fey's character. What's her name?
Cinda.
right, Tina Fey's back. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Cindy Canning.
Cinda Canning.
We see her hair color has changed. It's awesome. She's a blonde now, which is in and of itself just so funny. So she's trying to change her MO here,
Yeah.
and she doesn't have her former um
Her
podcast
assistant. Her assistant.
assistant
Poppy.
Poppy. Yeah, so we
Because she
see
tried to
her.
frame her last time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just hilarious. So you could hear her, recording her podcast. Apparently it's this like self
Yeah, she's all zen now and everything.
all zen self-love, bathing in the Palisades Pacific, which was the mud from the Palisades
Pacific Palisades.
or something. Yeah, it was hilarious. Anyway, so eventually we see that that Cinda is trying to get Mabel to join her team,
Yeah.
and she's ready to pay a good penny, one of which she takes back.
Not too good, right?
Yeah, not too good. And yeah, so then she learns through her that they are doing another season, and this time it's for um
Ben Glenroy.
Ben Glenroy's
Yeah.
death. So it was pretty, I mean, just that whole thing was also absolutely hilarious.
And at a certain point, Mabel, I think, was considering it because now she has to move out of Darkonia and she's looking for a place to live. And that one place that she looked at, which is, if you're from New York, it's totally true. It was like a closet for like $3,500.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not including, utilities and all this
All the
other
other
stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So funny.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was funny because Mabel walks in and she's like, "This is it," and like the real estate agent is super cocky and is like, "Yeah, it's so big, isn't
Yeah,
it? 450 square feet all to yourself." Really sad, but so believable.
True. Yeah.
So it's very New York. Yep, that's how it is.
So on the other end, we also see Mabel questioning Kimber in several scenes. It
Well,
turns
her and
out that
Charles
Kimber,
they go to
To the theater.
the theater to look for clues,
yeah.
and they find Kimber there.
Yeah, it turns out that Kimber has a little side business and she does a little
Yeah.
anti-aging creams and oils for your skin and
But
all.
then she said it was just like ginger ale and Vaseline or something.
Yeah, she says like it's only like Vaseline and
It's
something.
hilarious.
I think she said ginger.
And then she also has that dog food thing
Oh
where
yeah.
she's like, oh, it's like human grade food.
Technically, it's
like,
dog food,
it's
but
dog
it's
food,
human
but
grade.
I'm like,
And
yeah, I know.
and then she's like all this other stuff, and she doesn't know what to
And she didn't, yeah,
know how to
exactly.
name it. Anyway, so as she's like sitting at her dressing table, Mabel is kind of like peeking at her dressing table and seeing like these like cosmetic oils on her table and saying, "Hey, isn't that what, Ben was using the night that he died?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course, like he always uses it. It's great for this and that." And she keeps thinking that she's just like looking at these items just to have them for herself.
right.
And she's like completely, oblivious to the fact that she's the one of the main culprits.
Right. Yeah.
That they think is the main culprit.
So she's trying to get some info out of her, and we'll find out. Well, we don't know if it's true. It's just what Kimber says, that beside, regardless of what everyone thinks, she wasn't sleeping with Ben.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have any kind of, relationship with him in that way.
Mm-hmm.
She was just trying to get him to endorse her product because she figured this big celebrity will endorse my oils, and it will take off, and so she was trying to work with him with that. And people assume that she was trying to like sleep her way to the top and for helping her career, and she says she wasn't. Again, we don't know if it's true. She might be lying with that, but
it was also hilarious to see Oliver like, don't suspect Kimber. Kimber's like, like one of the better singers of the show.
Right.
Like he doesn't want her to be guilty.
Oliver's just trying to like make sure nothing happens to the musical. The show must go on. Doesn't matter. Well, he's actually
like, she has like a million TikTok followers.
Right.
TikTokies. And he's like, oh, how about the what is it? The stage manager? She's grumpy and only has 3 TikTokies. Why don't we pin it on her?
He just wants the show to go on, and he's not really looking into like investigating as much as this time as Mabel and Charles are, because he's worried about his play, his musical. He wants everything to go on and nothing to go wrong.
I also think it's because he had that health scare and now he doesn't want to get too stressed out.
Well, that too.
The investigations. Because as soon as that happened, and then they came to him, Charles and Mabel came to him and said,
right,
we got a new season.
We're back.
And he had that kind of scared look on his face, like, he's not sure how much he can, work with them on it. So I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Separately, I want to just go back to Charlie and his new roommate, his girlfriend Joy. So hilarious. She's absolutely obsessed with her saltwater fish. She has like 63 of them or something.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she's like the fish lady. Like she's the cat lady. She's the fish lady version of cat lady.
Right.
So it turns out she's like, oh, let's go celebrate. You want to go
You
like to
want
the
to go to the fish store?
Sure. I know, like weird. The fish store that we just went to twice today.
Yeah.
twice today? He's like, as much as I want to go with you to the fish store, we went twice already today. It's just so hilarious, honestly.
And before, when they were talking about when Charles was talking about how he has this kind of talking bit in the show because he's not a great singer and it's kind of like a rap, whatever. And he was saying, he said something like, "Imagine me, a rapper or whatever." And I just started thinking about Bringing Down the House.
Me too.
Remember that movie? That movie is so funny. That automatically popped into my mind.
That me too.
That's
and
so
I started
funny.
laughing.
Me too.
So, and this weekend that passed, I was watching TV and I passed and they were giving the Three Amigos.
Oh God.
I watched it too.
And I was like, and I was watching, and I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I was watching, and I was like, man, this movie is like great and stuff. And I was like, wouldn't it be, because this show has so many like guest stars and characters, whatever. I was like, wouldn't it be so funny that if Chevy Chase like made an appearance on this?
That would be so cool.
That would be cool. But didn't he get like canceled recently for something?
I feel like he did, but I don't exactly.
It's been a little while, but I feel like the last time we heard about him, he did something or whatever and got canceled. But
yeah,
I don't know. But I just thought it would be kind of.
I know that would
cool
be
if he popped up as some kind of like weird character on the show.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the theater. So Mabel's talking to Kimber, and while she does that, Mabel and Charles at some point want to go to Ben's dressing room to like investigate and look for clues, but Kimber's still kind of hanging around them. So Mabel goes back to Kimber to try and distract her and maybe get some info out of her. Charles goes into Ben's room and to look for clues. Looks around, he looks up and he's staring at something. He sees something.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, Mabel comes in, looks up, sees the same thing. On the mirror, in lipstick. Well, what was it that it said?
Fucking pig.
Fucking pig.
In lipstick.
Yeah.
So somebody was there, somebody was after him. Well, obviously, but
And Mabel found out through Kimber that someone else was in the room with him. It wasn't Kimber.
Right.
So that at that point it's like, oh, somebody, and that's when they went and they saw the lipstick and all that. Yeah.
So now the task is to find whose lipstick that is.
So Mabel took the lipstick too because it was still there.
Yep.
And put it in her bag. And
Oliver is Charles does this kind of rap thing again and goes back into the white room. He did it twice. He tried to do it the right way in his own like quirky way. The omelet thing.
Yeah, trying to make the omelet because that's how he feels comfortable.
But
he kept making too many hand gestures.
Oliver shut that down and he had to just do it kind of normal.
Yeah.
And he took him back to the white room. So he's back and he comes back out of it all disheveled again. And Oliver's pretty much telling him, Joy is causing all this disruption in your life. Like she needs to go away.
Yeah, tell her to move out.
Right. Maybe it'll fix everything or whatever.
And then
Charles goes back to the house, to the apartment to tell, basically he's going to tell her that she needs to move out, whatever. But again, he goes into the white room. Yeah. Right?
Oh, yes.
White room. And he comes out of it. And Joy is standing in front of him saying, yes, of course I will marry you.
And he was on one knee with the ring in his hand. What?
Yes. And then so Oliver and Mabel walk in on this moment and they're like, what is going on? This is insanity. It's just so funny. And he, always comes out of his trance. And then even he's thinking.
The whole room was like all messed up. You noticed the painting on the wall was down. And I was like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool to see like another side episode 2 of all what happened when he was in the White Room.
I know, that's true.
I would like to
Yes,
see that.
they
I think that
need
would be funny.
to show us some extras.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yes, so he proposed to Joy, and
Instead of breaking up with her.
Mabel and Oliver walk into it and basically like, oh shit, like what is he doing? And so they start talking about the case, and Mabel pulls out the lipstick, and Joy says, "There's my lipstick. I've been looking for this everywhere." And she put it with the set that she has from her makeup kits because she's a makeup artist. She was missing one, and that was the one she's missing.
Yes. So now
New
there is a
suspect
new
alert.
suspect.
New suspect alert.
Yeah, and then we see another a sweet thing was when Oliver gets kind of, also, by the way, it was super cute how Oliver was constantly talking about Loretta and he couldn't get her off of his mind.
Yeah.
It was very
He likes
cute.
her.
And then eventually, he picks up the phone. He was just like so anxious about asking her out. He picks up the phone and texts her dinner, so sent, so he's ready to make the moves on Loretta. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now, we try to do this at the end of all of the episodes where we each kind of tell what and who we think might have done it at this point. So now I will say that I did think it was Kimber. I know that you that was like one of my very first guesses on the first episode of the season. Even on the second, the third, I was still kind of thinking it was her. Now that she's like an official suspect, and it's been kind of like weird what's going on with her. I really think she might be oblivious and just like trying to like sell stuff. And yeah, maybe she had a dispute with her man, but I don't know. I still think it's possible that it might be more than one killer in this season. And at this point, I don't know. I feel like this one was a little bit confusing to me because it still could be anybody.
Yeah, definitely.
I will move it on to y'all, and maybe you can convince me.
I mean, I think, of course, it could definitely be anybody. It could be someone we don't even have on our suspect list. This could be somebody that's been there the whole time and hasn't really done anything, and we don't know yet. I mean, it could be freaking Tina Fey. She came back. Maybe she wants to be in the spotlight again. And
right. And also, like, Joy's lipstick was okay, but somebody else could have seen it, picked it up, and wrote that thing on there. It could have.
But she did mention earlier in the episode when she was talking to Charles, when they had the back and forth about, you want to go back to the fish store?
Right.
That she did say something to him along the lines of, I took care of Ben for you. Like I gave him a talking to and told him basically not to mess with you.
Right.
So
like if anybody messes with you, it's I got your back kind of thing.
They have to deal with me, and so that, and then on top of, she's on my list too. That, and then on top of that, at the end with the lipstick, I was like, oh, she's definitely a suspect now.
It might not be her, right?
Right.
But she's definitely on my list right now.
Okay.
And
Anybody
it's possible. Else? I mean, she's my new one. Everybody else that I had before,
you still want to keep.
I still have them on because they can come back.
Okay, Sandra.
Yes. Joy is definitely my new suspect. Yep. But I also had the thought too of Cinda, because she popped up and she's trying to get back to the popularity that she had from her previous podcast.
Yeah.
And when Mabel comes in and they start talking to, she's trying to get her to join. She's trying to get Mabel to join her. She says, I mean, pretty much like how much longer can you do this? Like, how many more murders are going to happen in the Arconia? Like, how many times are people going to die there that you can do?
Yeah.
Because the podcast is based on that.
Yeah.
Only murders in that building.
Right.
So
eventually she's going to have to do something else.
Could Cinda have killed Ben and So there would
And
be
wouldn't that
another.
be some shit that
So
she's
there
like
would be.
this
So there would be
self-care, like
another. So there would be another murder in the building that they would do, and then Cinda could try and worm her way in to be a
Yeah.
part of it
It's possible.
and get her glory back
Yep.
and
yeah,
be on the top
that's
of
a
the true
very good
crime
one.
podcast
That's a very
podcasters.
good one. And we all know she has a nasty side, so
Yeah.
it's very
This
possible.
whole Zen thing is a ruse.
That's a
Yes.
very, 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 very good suspect.
So they're Joy
Um,
and Cinda are on my list now.
Yep, me too.
Okay, well, more next week, right? I can't wait. I love
Yes.
the show. That's it for us today. Please join us the next week. And that's it. Angie, Sonia, Sandra, peace, love, and horror. Catch us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook,
Subscribe to our YouTube
subscribe
channel.
to YouTube. Thank you. iHeartRadio, Apple Music, everything, guys, everything. Join us.
And
Yeah,
make sure
we're
you're watching
streaming-
the show so you can comment on our posts and everything. The show's streaming on Hulu right now. It's on episode 4. Check it out.
Tuesdays on
Season 3,
Hulu.
episode 4.
Yes.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the end.